Hi, my name is Evan Woodbury, and this is the third course for the AI Product Management Specialization course with Duke University, and it's focused around the human factors in AI and basically considering humans when designing AI products. So I'm going to walk through designing a user experience for an AI product and some of the key considerations when doing that. To start off with, you'll want to do a task analysis and define the problem that you're trying to solve. The problem in this case that I'm looking to solve is that we have a large number of customers calling into our service department, which means they're not getting the service that they expect, or they don't have the information that they need to have. And this is also a large internal cost in terms of staffing, and it results in additional downstream work for employees. So we want to improve this so we can improve our customer experience, improve our customer retention, and lower internal costs. The key problem is knowing when customers might call so that we can proactively solve their problem before they actually need to call. This is currently done by using a set of business rules that are the same for most situations, combined with employee intuition on when a customer might call. We can improve the user experience by giving employees early insight into why someone might call using an AI model. And we can also tell them the key trends that might have led to that call. In the future, we'll want to use these key trends to figure out how we can solve these issues before they actually happen. In terms of the user experience design, we'll first want to focus on the user interaction. The user currently has a dashboard of live projects, and with this new solution, once a project reaches a high enough level of risk for a customer call, it will alert the operations team by moving the action or moving the ticket that the customer might call in on to the top of their list and calling it out by using something like a highlight or a red text. Excuse me. The warning will tell the partner what was being considered and which factors are making this situation a higher risk of a customer call. The partner then will use that insight to know what to do next, and they can use their additional context to proactively solve the problem. Some key considerations include the user inputs. For this one of them will be the data that is, one of the inputs to the model will be the data that the users are putting in internal notes fields and the statuses of the customer service tickets. We'll want to tell employees that their notes are being used for this purpose, and we'll also want to consider using other data, potentially such as things like customer data in terms of how much they're using our app and when they're using our app, when they're checking statuses, and even potentially their personal location, because that might be a factor that could contribute to when they could call in. We will want to consider how we notify customers that we're using this information. We'll also want to ensure that employees know that AI is using the internal information to make predictions and give them examples of what data is considered in the model and also the limitations. This will help employees understand when the prediction might be better or worse. We'll also want to communicate the uncertainty of the model to partners, potentially using something like a likelihood score or a confidence score, so users don't know that we understand that the model isn't always 100% accurate. There are privacy considerations for this project. One concern could be the fact that we're reading in employee notes. However, they're likely already aware of this, so not a major concern. If we do use customer data, such as app usage or location, that could be a privacy concern. So we'll want to ensure that we anonymize the training data and or tell customers that we'll be using that data and allowing them to either opt in or opt out. There are not significant privacy laws that we need to consider if we're not using customer data, but if we are, we'll need to consider where those customers are located and what statewide or national laws could apply. For example, there are very strict privacy laws in the EU and in California. And finally, there are some ethical considerations. In terms of when bias could come into the model, we might see it if we are looking at the data down to the very specific customer level. Some customers may have a lower or higher threshold for error or threshold for frustration for when they might call in. And as a result, customers that call us more quickly or maybe get angry more easily at the situation, they might call in more, and therefore they might get more proactive service in the future. And we'll want to understand if that's something we actually want our model to do, or if that's a bias that we do not want to introduce. We may introduce bias if the customer doesn't speak English and therefore doesn't call us as much, because we may then change our service levels based on that, which might not be what we're actually intending to do. We'll want to look at things like gender and race as well to understand if that is negatively impacting our model. For example, if we find that a male versus a female has a different average customer sentiment level, we'll want to understand if we actually want that to be a factor that impacts our model, or if we want to find a way to exclude that type of data. There are 3 goals that we want to try to meet when building AI tools, and that's fairness, accountability, and transparency. For fairness, we want to ensure we are limiting the use of data points that might introduce bias, such as gender or race. For accountability, we'll want to ensure we're clear on the ownership of the project and have feedback loops for customers and partners to tell us when the model isn't working as expected. And for transparency, we'll want to make sure we provide training and ongoing transparency into what data is being used and how the model is working. Thank you.